Baie welkom by Willa Krause Velsorg se heel eerste opleidingswebinar. Baie dankie dat jy ingeskakel het. Jy gaan soveel leer. Van ons land en van ons maatskappy se top opleidingsbeamptes gaan jy oor die volgende 4 weke toerus en bemagtig met kennis. Kennis oor ons produkte, kennis oor roumateriale, kennis oor die vel en veltipes. En soos my ma Willa Krause altyd sê, kennis is mag. En soos hulle in Engels sê, the more you learn, the more you will earn. So jy het die regte besluit geneem om in te skakel. Jy is ook by die regte maatskappy. Ek glo Willa Krause Velsorg is die beste produk in die hele wêreld. Ek was vir 'n paar jaar die redakteur van Finesse gewees en wanneer mense in die tydskrifindustrie is, het jy die wonderlike voorreg dat skoonheidshuise hulle produkte vir jou gratis stuur, sodat jy dit kan toets en daaroor skryf. En ek het elke nou en dan internasionale en nasionale huise se produkte getoets, maar net om na 2 weke weer terug te gaan na WK toe. Ek kry net wonderlike resultate met ons produkte en ek weet jy gaan ook en jy doen dalk alreeds. Ons produkte werk werklik. Nog 'n baie groot voordeel wat ons by Willa Krause Velsorg het, is dat ons pryse uiters kompeterend is. As jy byvoorbeeld gaan kyk na 'n ander huise serum en wat daarin is en na WK serum en jy vergelyk dit, want onthou jy moet appels met appels vergelyk. Die hoeveelheid roumateriaal daarin is, die konsentrasie van roumateriale, watter aktiewes daarin is, sal jy sien dat ons pryse baie keer tot 3 keer goedkoper is as ander huise se produkte. En dan is ons produk nog van 'n beter gehalte met meer roumateriale teen hoër konsentrasies. Die rede hoekom ons dit ook kan doen is omdat ons eie laboratorium het, DC laboratoriums. En dit maak dit ook maklik want ons weet presies wat ons in ons produkte sit en watter kwaliteit aktiewes en roumateriale ons in ons produkte sit. Ek wil jou sommer uitnooi om ook Suid-Afrikaanse besighede te ondersteun. Kom ons bou ons eie ekonomie. Local is lekker. En het jy geweet dat in die velsorgindustrie Suid-Afrika 'n voorloper is as dit kom by die herstel van sonskade en om jou vel te beskerm teen die son. WK is natuurlik ook geformuleer spesifiek vir die krasklimaat hier in Afrika. Ons hier in Suid-Afrika is baie meer blootgestel aan die son en aan elemente as wat mense byvoorbeeld in Europa daaraan blootgestel is. En jy sal weet as skoonheidskenner dat die son die grootste faktor is vir velveroudering. Ek noem al ons konsultante en die salon-eienaars en almal wat betrokke is by Willa Krause Velsorg familie. Ons is eintlik 'n boutique maatskappy, waar ons direkteure, ek en Fransel en Siebert en die bestuur 'n oop deur beleid het. Jy is enige tyd welkom om hier by hoofkantoor te kom kuier. Ons wil graag jou voorstelle hoor. Ons help jou graag as jy probleme het. Ons wil in jou as mens ook belê. Ons wil jou help om finansiëel onafhanklik te raak en jou drome waar te maak, soos om 'n mooi huis te koop of 'n mooi kar of om jou kinders te laat studeer of om oor see te gaan. Maar nie net wil ons sê jou besigheid moet suksesvol wees nie. Ons wil jou as mens ook ontwikkel en laat groei. Weet jy wat 'n wonderlike voorreg is dit om in hierdie industrie te wees, die skoonheidsindustrie, om mense te help om beter te voel oor hulle self, om hulle selfbeelde te bevorder. Jy is 'n verskilmaker en is 'n wonderlike voorreg om dit te kan doen. Ek noem die skoonheidsindustrie waarin ons werk 'n beautiful industry to work in, 'n mooi industrie om in te werk. Dit is so lekker om mense se velle vir hulle mooi te maak, om hulle te help om hulle selfbeeld te bevorder. Ek sê altyd, ek is so dankbaar ek verkoop nie grasnyers nie. En is wonderlik dat daar mense is wat 'n passie daarvoor het om grasnyers te verkoop, maar dit is dan 'n voorreg om in 'n industrie te kan werk wat jy mense mooi maak. Hulle praat ook van die lipstick-industrie. En dit is dat dit 'n baie stabiele industrie is. Die ekonomie kan dalk afgaan, maar die skoonheidsindustrie bly stabiel, dit bly groei. Want hoe slegter dit met die ekonomie gaan, hoe beter wil mense oor hulle self voel. En daar's regtig waar 'n woord daarvoor, wat in die 30 jare in die depressie ontwikkel is, en die woord is die lipstick-industrie. So dis wonderlik, mense wil nie meer oud word nie, mense wil nie meer oud lyk nie. So dis 'n industrie wat altyd sal groei. Wetenskaplike navorsing word op 'n daaglikse basis gedoen in ons industrie. Jy het die regte industrie gekies. Ek wil vir jou dankie sê dat jy ingeskakel het. Ek wil ook 'n groot dankie sê vir ons opleidingsbeamptes wat soveel moeite gedoen het en voorbereiding gedoen het om jou toe te rus met kennis. En ons hier by hoofkantoor en ek spesifiek bid vir jou besigheid. Dat dit vir jou werksbevrediging sal bied, dat jy 'n verskil sal maak in ander mense se lewens en dat jy van krag tot krag sal gaan en jou besigheid sal groei en jy finansiëel onafhanklik en suksesvol sal wees. Seën vir jou.
Good morning, very welcome to today's trainings here at Willa Krause head office. My name is Chantell Nienaber and I will be your trainer for today. I've come into the beauty industry for 17 years. I started as a student at Aesthetica. I studied somatology for 3 years. After that, I started working at a salon where I worked myself up, being the head therapist and then also the salon manager. And then after I fell pregnant, my husband and I decided that I'm ready to do my own thing. So I started my own salon. Very scary, but yes, everything worked out well so much because I really have a love for the skin and for this industry, and it's always been something that intrigued me so much. And then also the technology around skincare and everything that you can do to be the more beautiful woman that we are already. So yes, I went on my own. I started my own salon. And as the person as I am, I couldn't just stay by being a salon therapist. I needed to know more. And then I wanted to do training. So I went for my level 5 education and training diploma where I started teaching. So for a year and a half, I've been teaching at the Willa Krause head office. And that's also why I'm here today, to show you and teach you the passion that I have for skincare. And I hope that you will learn a lot and use this in your practice every day from now on. Now we're going to talk about the skin. Now, I love the skin. It's the most intriguing organ that we have in our body. The skin is the largest organ that we have. It's the thickest at the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet, and it's the thinnest by the eyelids. That's usually where aging starts first, is around the eyes and the lips, because the skin tissue is so thinner there. Now, the skin is our largest organ, like I told you. It weighs up to 3 to 4 kilograms of who we are. It makes up 15% of our weight. And the interesting thing about skin is that we shed our skin. It grows from the inside out. It grows every day. It works hard on a daily basis. We shed 30 to 40 cells every minute. So only song that I can think about is Taylor Swift's Shake It Off, Shake It Off. So it means that you can actually shake off more skin cells if you do that. So it's not just a beauty therapy, it can also be a body therapy. So yes, we lose 30 to 40 cells every minute while we are sitting just here listening and also teaching you guys. What I want to tell you about the skin is if you take a piece of skin between your thumb and your forefinger, there is so many things, so many processes that are taking place inside of the skin. It's really a very complex but also simple organ, and it really lives. Your skin loves to be touched. It loves to be nourished. I mean, you can just think about the first time that you hold your boyfriend's hand, that feeling of tingling that went from your toes to your body, everything standing upright. It's really part of what the skin is. It's a talkative organ. It's a lovable organ. Sometimes it does get mad at you, and then you get a breakout or a rash for doing nothing, or eating something that you shouldn't have. So yes, the skin is a very interesting organ. And because of that intrigueness in the skin, that's why I study the skin and want to help you to understand the skin in a better way. Because if you do understand your skin, it's also better to care for it. Like anything in life, when you buy something from the shelves, or even a book, or even clothes from the store, you will always get a label on it to tell you don't tumble dry, don't wash it in cold water. Now the skin also comes with a label, but the thing is we don't always know about the labels. I mean, if you see, even researchers don't really exactly know what the label for our skin is, because the skin changes from century to century with sun damage and the ozone layer getting bigger. So yes, the skin is constantly changing, so it's very difficult to keep up to the change that the skin of our people are going through from generations. So it's really important that we look into the anatomy of the skin so that we can understand how to properly care, love and nourish this wonderful organ. Well, they say that there are 7 wonders in the world, but they have also said that the skin is called one of the 8 wonders of the world because it's being discovered still every day. Every day there's a new technology or research, therapy, product that you can use on the skin to prevent aging. We all want to stay young forever, so obviously there's a lot of money in the skincare industry. So it's really an industry that you can really trust, that they will always be on top of new formulations, technology, and everything working for our industry. So yes, the skin constantly reproduces itself. So it renews itself from the inside out on a daily basis. Every day we shed a surface layer of the skin, and that is very important because that is how the skin is keeping itself young, healthy, and alive. Now lately with the coronavirus, we've all been at home more, so usually the dust in your house is 80% made up out of dead skin cells. So if you were 4 people living in lockdown, there would be 320,000 more dust particles in your house to clean. So I believe more of you have been cleaning the house, but it's not just because of normal dust, it's really because of the skin shedding and growing itself. And if you think about young children, I mean, they grow easily. I mean, I've seen my youngest one and my oldest one, they've grown in 3 months so much. So that means that their skin has been shedding a lot more. That's why I can't understand why I'm cleaning so much and it just never gets done. It's because of all the skin cells being shed from the skin renewing itself constantly. Now we get 2 types of skin on our bodies. We get hairy skin and then we get glabrous skin. Now glabrous skin is the skin that you only find on the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. It is a thicker part of skin, but it is also a very sensitive part of skin. Usually that's why they would do reflexology on the hands or the feet, because it contains a lot of sensory nerves. And usually most people are very ticklish under their feet and also on their hands. So that's why it's important to know that that part of skin is a bit different than the rest of your body. Then we get the hairy skin. Now the hairy skin is over the rest of our bodies. That is the hair that covers our whole bodies to keep us warm and to keep the body regulating at a correct temperature. The skin on the hairy area of our bodies is thinner and it's got less sensory nerves. Now you can see that also on this picture, that is the skin's anatomy. Now, which is important to know about our skin is that it's got divisions. It's not just one layer containing everything. It's got 3 main divisions. As you can see, you get your epidermis, which is the top part of your skin. Then you get the dermis, which is a larger part of the skin. And then you get the hypodermis. Now, this is all integrated names, but to explain it to you more so that you can understand it, how I see the skin, it's like a house. When we look at a house, we get a roof. The roof contains tiles that are compactly placed together at a slight angle to prevent water or damage or even thieves to come into your house. So it's really important that we have an epidermis. Epidermis, the epi, stands for top. So it means top. It means top roof. So it protects your house. It protects your family inside. So when it's raining, the water will run down from the epidermis and it doesn't penetrate into the skin. So it cannot cause damage to your house. So it's really important that we should look at the epidermis. Although it's a hard, keratin, watertight, horny, dead layer, it's really necessary for the protection of the deeper layers of the skin. So we don't want to remove most of it, we just want to make it maintainable. So then the other part of our house is the structure of the house, the inside of the house, and that is what we call the dermis. Now the dermis has a lot of ducts, sweat glands, oil glands, hair follicles, small molecules. A lot of skin cells is also particularly working very hard in our dermis. The dermis also has blood vessels that brings blood and oxygen to the surface of our skin that is necessary to feed and nourish our skin, and also lymph vessels to drain away waste particles from the skin. So it's really like the construction of your house. The inside of your house, you will have your furniture, you have your bath where you can take a nice bath, and you've got the kitchen where you make your food, you get your drain outside that drains away all the excess water in the house. So yes, that is how I can explain to you how the dermis works. You can move within it. There's a lot of things happening inside a house, especially when you're living in your house. Sometimes you will sleep, you'll sit on the couch, but then sometimes you're also working on the house to maintain it. Now that's what the skin does as well. It's working on every part of the house all of the day, all of the time. So that structure is very important. That's why your roof of your house have to be very strong and very tight so that the thieves cannot come in and steal from your house. Most thieves come through the roof because it's the easier part. They will take the tiles apart and then come into your house and can bring disruption and destruction to the house. So it's really important that we should know that the dermis has a lot of functions and a lot of things happening during that time. I mean, also your house has a system that drains away all the waste and particles. We get waste systems that come and pick up our waste outside, our municipalities, so that the skin has its own municipality that drains away all the waste particles that is unnecessary. It also provides nutritious food. That's why we have a kitchen in the house. The kitchen is usually there where we prepare food. So that also is what happens in our dermis constantly at a daily rate. Then the other division of our skin is what we call the hypodermis. Hypo means below, and then it also means subcutaneous layer, and it's called the fat layer as well. So that is where our fat cells are accumulated to protect us from falling. It also helps protect our internal organs. It's also the layer that makes us women more special because it gives us our nice curves, luscious curves that we all love so much sometimes. But yes, it's very important that we also have a hypodermis and that fat cell layer. That is usually where the foundation of our house lies. If the foundation is not good and strong and capable of storing, then our house will fall apart. So it's really important, a builder, if he builds a house, that he must make sure that the foundation is very strong, because if the foundation of our house is not strong, you will easily see cracks and splits and then bricks that falls apart, which we don't want. So it's really important that we do need this layer. I know our women, we want to lose weight and just want to lose fat cells all the time, but sometimes we must have these fat layers to protect our muscles, to protect our skin, and also the cells which is in our hypodermis is the chemical messengers. They send the messages to the dermis and the skin cells to reproduce itself. It's also the place where energy is stored. Sometimes we just feel so lethargic and we feel so fatigued, but that is when the hypodermis works at its best. It gives us that energy reserves that's been stored up for a while to give us the energy necessary to do the things that we have to do, and for the skin to do all the functions that it has to prepare. So yes, our skin works very hard every day. So it's really important to understand that we have an epidermis, which is the top part, which I explained now is the roof of your skin. Then we have the dermis, which is the inside of the house, usually where all your nice furniture is. There's a lot of things going around. You've got a safe in the house, you store away money in your house. So a lot of things are in the dermis, and it has to work properly together. It has to be maintained properly. If you have a leak in the bathroom, you need to call the plumber. So that's why all those cells, there's so many cells in the skin that helps with the plumbing of our skin, helps with the drains in our skin, it helps with the food in our skin, to make sure that the skin is alive and a living organ, helping to strengthen the body day by day. Now, just to stand a little bit still by the epidermis. The epidermis, like I explained now, the roof's got 5 layers. That 5 layers is very distinctive in their purpose. Each layer has a different purpose and contains different cells that needs to be working together as a group to prepare and make the epidermis as strong as possible. There's no blood supply in your epidermis. That's why you'll see that usually when you shave and you do start bleeding, then it means that you have touched in the dermis. But usually the epidermis does not absorb water. That's why we can take a bath and you can stand out of the bath and the water just runs off the body. It doesn't penetrate into the skin. It's because of that reason, because the hard skin of the layer has no blood supply and it cannot penetrate water. So it is the outermost layer of the skin. It consists only of dead skin cells. We call that skin cell the corneocyte. Corneo means dead, so it's a dead skin cell. But it's not a cell that has no function. That cell has a function because it provides a watertight membrane and a barrier that protects our skin against the outside world and also protects our body. The epidermis is the barrier between our bodies and the outside world. So it shields our body against damage. So it's really necessary that we have a thick, strong epidermis to protect the true dermis, which is the true skin. Yes, and also the epidermis has makes a shield, what we call an acid mantle. That acid mantle is prepared by sebum that is secreted by our sweat glands and our sebaceous glands. Sweat is secreted by our sweat glands, sebum is secreted by our sebaceous glands. That mixes together the sweat and the oil, and it creates an acid mantle. So it's really like your skin's got a shield of its own. I mean, who goes to war without a weapon, eh? You don't go to war without any weapon. So our skin's got its own weapon, and that weapon is what we call the acid mantle. So nothing just can come into that part of your skin. It's also the same as with your house. The epidermis, for its protection, is there. I mean, you've got the door as well in front of your house. You don't just allow anybody to come in. If the in-laws are coming, you'll maybe say, I'm not here, but then you have to open up for them because you know them, they're family. So the skin allows familiar or family members into the skin, but it won't allow anybody. Usually somebody who wants to just sell cookies or someone who makes as though he's the maintenance guy, your skin will just not allow anybody to come in. It has to know that person or familiar that person or be affiliated to that person before you allow someone in. Usually you will peek into the door and see the small hole, and then you'll see exactly who's outside, and then you will open the door usually. But that's exactly how our skin works. It just doesn't allow anything to come in. It allows only maybe oily substances to penetrate slowly and not too fast into the skin. So yes, the skin is a very protective organ, just like a mother protecting her children. Our epidermis is also very protective of our skin. And then also pigmentation cells are also found in our epidermis. That is the cell that creates the pigment in our skin that gives us our nice color. And then the more we spend time in the sun, the darker these cells get because it wants to protect us from UV radiation, and that's why we get the nice glow from. And then the main cell in the epidermis that works really the hardest is what we call the keratinocyte. Now the keratinocyte is a cell that can change shape. It can mutate. It can be anything it wants to be because it's necessary to keep the production of the skin in its place. It's growing from the inside out. It reforms itself. It replaces itself on a continuous basis, and it's necessary to keep the skin healthy and also to help with exfoliation of the skin. So what happens is the keratinocytes is starting to develop in the basal layer of the epidermis, and then it moves upwards through all these 5 layers of the skin. On its way up, it changes shape, it mutates, it becomes granular, and then that keratinocyte becomes what we call keratin. And keratin is then the reason and the glue that causes the keratinocyte to be the watertight membrane that we form the epidermis with, which is the stratum corneum, the top layer of our skin. So it's got a really big function in the skin. So it's really important that you know that the 2 main cells in the epidermis that works very hard is the melanocyte and also the keratinocyte. I usually call them the husband and the wife of the skin. It's just easier to remember. I mean, like I told you, we get so many cells in the skin. There's hundreds and millions of cells, but the ones that do the main function is these 2. They have to work together in a very great close relationship because they are the ones who really keep the skin as it should be. The keratinocyte, that's why I call it a woman, because she can change shape. I mean, when you're pregnant and when you go through menopause, we change in shape more than men do usually. So that's why I call the keratinocyte a woman. She works hard and she multiplies and she changes in shape until the day we die. So a keratinocyte is present in our life until the day we die, and even until we die, it's the keratinocytes that at the end usually eats up the corpse. So that's why the keratinocyte will work 24 hours a day. You know, our mothers, you will go without sleep, but you need to feed the children, you need to do everything. There's so many listings of things we have to do a day, so we can work continuously. So that's what the keratinocyte does. It works continually. It never gets tired. It also can change shape and it can mutate. Mutate meaning that it can be anything in any shape it wants to. I mean, you know, in this time, we've been teachers, we've been cleaners, you've been wife, you can be so many things. And that's what the keratinocyte does as well. It can really be anybody, but it's necessary for the growth of the skin. And it's, you know that a woman, usually our husbands, they do a lot in the house, but usually the mom in the house is the one that's got her hands on everything. You know about everything. The child can steal something behind your back and you've got eyes behind your back. You know exactly what's going on. And that's the thing about the keratinocyte. It really knows about everything that goes on in the skin, and it works very hard in relation with the melanocyte that provides the pigment. Now the melanocyte is the pigment cell. It's quite an aggressive cell. It's also a bigger cell than the keratinocyte, and the keratinocyte and the melanocyte links together, and then the fluid that they create together is what called our pigment, which creates melanin. So they have to work very hard together to provide the family of the skin to be in good health. So it's really important that we look at the melanocytes. Now, melanocytes, because they give pigment, we think that the melanocyte can absorb heat, but it can't. A melanocyte does not like heat at all. If it does get heated, that's why it gets aggressive, and then the skin gets darker. And the more aggressive it gets sometimes, that's where you will find your pigmentation marks and sun damage on the skin. Where the keratinocyte, it can absorb a lot of heat. That's why a woman can take a lot of stress upon her and work very hard. And sometimes the husband is the one that's the more angrier one at home and the one that does the discipline. So it's just easier to explain to you how these two cells are working together to create the family of skin that we need. A healthy family with routine, with strict rules, and also good production. Our dead skin cells, and as the skins are sloughed off, it puts pressure on the basal layer to create new keratinocytes. So the keratinocyte grows from the inside and it moves upward to the skin, and then it changes shape and then becomes what we call the corneocyte. So the keratinocyte has a nucleus, and that's where the energy and the life in the cell is. As it moves upwards through the layers of the skin, the shape changes. Also, the nucleus starts to break up, energy starts to break up, and then it changes into a more flatter shape, and then the nucleus dies. So the keratin then dies and forms the corneocyte. So even though the keratinocyte has died and become a corneocyte, it still has the job of protecting and sealing the skin to prevent moisture loss from within. So that's the nice thing about the skin too, how it really works itself through the whole day. This is just a picture of the epidermis and the structure of the skin. Now, like I've told you, we've got five layers of the epidermis. The stratum corneum is the top layer. Now, corneum means dead. Stratum in Latin means layer. So it's just another layer of the skin. Stratum lucidum is a thicker bit of skin. The stratum lucidum is skin that you only find on the soles of your feet and the palms of your hand. You don't find it on your hairy skin parts of the skin, because that is where also a lot of sensory nerves is. And then we get the third layer, which we call the stratum granulosum layer. That is where the nucleus of your skin cells has already granulated. So that's why the keratinocyte has already granulated in that stage, and that is why it is called the stratum granulosum. The cells also, as you can see, looks like it's got granulars inside. That's why we call it the granulosum layer. Then the next layer we call the stratum spinosum. Now spinosum, it's also called the prickle cell layer. Prickle cell layer means that if you look at the cell, it's not rounded anymore, it's more a square rectangular shape, and then the nucleus has also become a bit more prickly. So that's why it's called the prickle cell layer. Then we get the basal layer, which is the last layer of the epidermis. The basal layer is where the process of keratinization starts. That's where the keratinocyte is formed, and it's developed and it's reproduced in a process that we call mitosis. So in this layer, the keratinocyte divides, it multiplies, and then it moves up towards the skin at the end to die and then create the stratum corneum, which we need for protection. And that is our 5 layers of the epidermis, which is really important. Then we have the dermis, as you can see in the picture there. That is how our dermis looks. Now the dermis, what we said, is our true skin. That is the live skin. In that area, there's blood supply, lymph supply, a lot of cells working together to keep this operation going. It's also the part of skin that really helps for the strength and the elasticity of our skin. It has a lot of blood and lymph vessels that moves nutrients and waste away from the skin. Also very important to know. Then the dermis, it contains our sweat glands, our oil glands, our hair follicles, and our small muscle, which we call the erector pili muscle. That's attached underneath the skin that helps our hair stand on end when we shiver, like in this cold weather we have now. Or when you are very excited, or when your boyfriend kisses you, you just get the shiver and chills, your hair stands on end, the neck hair is up, everything is just up and going. That is what your dermis does for you. And then the other thing about the dermis, it's got one cell that really works very hard in this area of skin, and we call it the fibroblast. Fibroblast is the main cell that usually helps to produce our collagen and our elastin. Now, collagen and elastin is the fibers that we call connective tissue. They connect our skin and keep the skin upwards and not falling apart. That's what also forms a part of the foundation of our skin. If you think about collagen and elastin, it's like layers put together, weaved in one another to create a strong whole. If the sun shines on it and causes sun damage or pollution or stress or health problems, causes these fibers inside to burn away and wither away, then you get that the structure of your skin becomes collapsing, and that is where deep wrinkles and lines are starting to produce. It's because of collagen and elastin fibers that does not work together anymore, or has been there's been some kind of damage that eliminated the production of it. So fibroblast is very necessary for our skin to be strong and elastic. Now, collagen is what we all have in our blood vessels. Collagen is also in our organs. It protects us and it keeps the organs strong and full of strength. Elasticity is now for elasticity. Now, you've seen that some people are just more elastic than others. You are born with an amount of elasticity, and that is what you will live with. But collagen is something that reproduces in your life from when you are born until you are 25, 27, where it really reaches its peak. And then after that, your pilot is on autopilot. Then you have the decision, do I do good skincare? Am I going to treat my skin? I'm going to look after my skin. But after that, the plane can all crash and burn, or you can have a lovely ride and then have a good experience with your skin. So it's really necessary to know that collagen only reproduces until you are 25 and 27. After that, it's really your own choice and the decisions you make that will keep your collagen strong in your skin or devouring and then being destroyed. So it's really important to know that about the skin. So how I usually explain it is you get in the epidermis. Now we have the keratinocyte, which is the mother. Then we've got the melanocyte, which is the father, that's really into the security of the house and the protection that gives pigment. And then we get the fibroblast. The fibroblast I usually call the child. It's the production of what the mom and the dad had, and that's the fibroblast. Because the fibroblast only works when it is stimulated. Only when there is pressure or it's stimulated by a needle therapy or by a product, then the fibroblast really produces and keeps the collagen strong in your skin. Usually, like I've seen in my own house, if I don't tell my child to clean up a room, she won't. And sometimes your voice just gets a bit louder. Come now, Abilene. Then she'll quickly start working. If the voice of mine is speaking, then actually I get her into action. And that's the same with our fibroblast. It only gets into action when there's pressure applied on it, when it's stimulated to produce by treatments, products, or therapies outside of the skin. Just important for you to know. The hypodermis, as we said, it's the third layer, the third division of our skin, also a very important part. That is where our energy is being reserved. It's called the subcutaneous or fat layer. It is the deepest layer of the skin, and this layer is very important to conserve our heat, and it also stores up usually energy cells when the skin does need it in desperate times of need. It's loose connective tissue, so it really glides over our organs and glides over our muscles. It contains fat cells and it stores fat. The other name for a fat cell we call adipose tissue. And the fat cells, they act as chemical messengers. So they send the message around. Just to tell you that, yes, the chemical messengers, they send from one cell to another and they talk to one another all the time. I mean, the Wi-Fi system in your skin is working great. No interruptions at all. So, yes, the main skin cells, just to touch on it again, the keratinocyte, it helps with the healing process as well. You know that the mother is always the one who's blocking the pleister. En dan ook daai apie bloed. My kids call it apie bloed. It's mercurochrome. If that's on the wound, then anything, all the tears are gone. They are just happy if mom just plucks a pleister. So that's the thing about the keratinocyte. It's part of the healing process of the skin as well. It heals, it saves, it cures, it does everything in the skin. Then it produces keratin, that improves the epidermal density. It also produces until the day we die. And it can absorb heat. I mean, you know, our women can take a lot of pressure and we can make things work. Even if we are crying inside, we can be strong and put up a smile, slap on a smile, and do the things that we have to do. That's how the keratinocyte in our skin works as well. And then the melanocyte, it produces melanin that gives our skin our pigment, that gives us our color. Some darker skins, it just they've got more melanocytes, it's more compacted together. So yes, that's what gives us our nice color, our glowing color. The melanocyte cannot absorb heat, so it gets destroyed by collateral damage, usually with people who've gone for laser resurfacing or deep peels, might have removed the uneven skin tone, but afterwards, because of the trauma on the skin, they still have hyperpigmentation, or the little bit of pigmentation that they had just got worse because of the trauma, because of the melanocyte that got angry because it got over-possessive, overprotective, and then you get spots of brown pigment in the skin. And then also we lose 10 to 20% functioning melanocytes every year when aging starts. So that's between 30 or 35 years. Some people, it's between 40 years. They lose the function of the melanocyte. Where keratinocytes are produced constantly, melanocytes die. So you really have to check on the sun damage and check that the skin is protected against UV radiation every day. And the dermis has got the fibroblast cell, and the fibroblast cell is the one that produces our collagen and elastin that keeps our connective tissue together and strong, gives us elasticity and also connectivity in the skin. Also, the collagen and elastin are destroyed by UV damage and also environmental factors. And it also can lead to lines and wrinkles, so we really need to look at our collagen and make sure that it is looked after by our skin products, therapies, lifestyle, and also our emotions and our just overall health. Now, the skin also has got color. Our skin not just contains yellow color, it's got a few colors. Oxygenated blood in our skin gives our skin a nice red color. Especially when you're stressed or in your menopause, you're flushed a lot, then the red color usually comes out very easily. And when you're shy and when somebody made you shy, usually the redness will come through. So that's one of the colors our skin shows. Another color is deoxygenated blood, which is a blue color. Usually in colder weather, you will see that our skin has got a bluish color. Usually that is because of the deoxygenated blood, because of the blood being closer to our internal organs, trying to heat up the organs. It will be closer to the part where it's more vital. That's where the vessels constrict, and then you won't have that red color that you usually have in the summer. So blue is one of the colors of the skin that we get as well. Another color is melanin. Melanin is then the brown pigment. The brown pigment mixes with keratin. Usually melanin we think is a brown color, but it's really not. It creates a brown color. But melanin is actually a clearless fluid. When it's mixed with keratin, the melanin, which the keratinocyte gives, then the brown color is created, and that causes our skin to have the browner pigment, shades of brown or then black, it depends. Keratin is the other color that we get, and that's the yellow color. Keratin is created by the keratinocyte. So yellow is also the color that is caused in by the skin. Now the skin gets its color by two categorized structures. Usually it's constitutive. You get your color at birth. So if your mother was a bit darker, you will also have the dark color. If you were lighter or freckled skin, that's also what you will get from your mother or father. It does trace back to genetics. So constitutive is the color that you are born with, or which comes through your genes. Then the other color that you get is the facultative color. That's the color that you increased in your body because of UV exposure. Usually when you are younger, you spend so much more time in the sun. So when you're a teenager, you are much darker and more vibrant in color, maybe when you are older. It's because of the sun exposure. Skin appendages. So yes, the skin also has extensions. We call this the hair, the nails, the hair follicles, sebaceous glands, and the sweat glands. So if it's not going good with your skin, you will realize that your nails will also be brittle and your hair will be falling out quite a lot. They are connected to one another. I call the extensions like your family members, like your daughter, your son, or your aunt. It's all part of the family. It's part of the family, but they've got their own anatomy and their own structure on their own. So their hair, the nails, their follicles, it's got all personalities of their own, but they form a part of the skin. It's still part of the family. So you have to also nourish your nails and also nourish your hair the same as you would your skin, because it's extensions of the skin. So the anatomy goes through mostly the same.
Yes.
Like anything in life, we are all made with a purpose. So now the skin is also made with a purpose, and it's got functions. We are not here on earth just to live and to eat. We are all here to perform a specific function. Luckily, I'm not a fish and a food for a shark. Thank you so much for that. But yes, the skin's functions is quite a lot. We've got sensation. Our skin can feel by touch. When you touch the skin, there's a reaction. There's heat. Your skin can feel heat. The skin can feel cold. It can also feel pressure. So yes, the skin has got sensation. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can feel the warmth, you can feel the cold on the skin. Then your skin also can regulate heat. When it is cold, your blood vessels dilate, causing the blood flow to be closer to the internal organs to keep your body warm, and then the body will go into an involuntary shiver. So that is also how your body conserves heat. Then when it's hot, your vessels also expands, they dilate, allowing blood flow to come to the surface of the skin, where it then loses its heat. So that's a very important function of the skin as well. The other function is absorption. The skin can only absorb small amounts of oil and not water. So yes, that's why most of our skincare products' main ingredient is aqua, which is water, but it allows the oil to be transported and then also absorbed into the skin. So the skin can absorb oil in small, steadily amounts into the skin to feed it and to nourish it. The skin's main function is to protect us. It protects us from the outside world. It protects us against external factors like UV radiation, pollution, and everything that we can get from the outside world. But also it protects us on the inside. It protects us from blows and falls. If you bump yourself, your skin will heal itself. And then also the fat cells in our body also helps us to reserve energy. So it also protects us against blows and falls and also creates a shield. And then the sebum created by our sebaceous glands and the sweat created by our sweat glands creates the acid mantle that also has an antibactericidal effect, which creates so that bacteria, microorganisms or germs cannot just enter the skin. So yes, protection is one of the main functions also of the skin. Another function is excretion. Our skin can excrete waste products through our sweat glands, which is water and uric and lactic acid. So it can clean itself and properly make sure that it detoxifies the skin continuously. Another function of the skin is secretion. That is through oil, through our sebaceous glands, that causes our skin to be moisturized, intact, and also protects against water evaporation. And then also sweat is secreted by our skin to keep us cool, and it also helps to prevent bacteria from entering into the skin. Another function of the skin is storage. Our skin can store by the fat cells that we have in our skin as energy reserves when it is later needed. Another function is vitamin D production. Now, vitamin D is not present in the body. It has to be created through the outside world. So what happens is you only need a piece of skin like this, a part of your hand, for half an hour to an hour in the sun. Then necessary vitamin D is produced. It becomes into the bloodstream. It forms together with calcium and phosphorus, and that strengthens our bones and our teeth. And it also makes us happy. If we don't have sun, our skin really withers and it's really unhappy. Sun makes our skin happy, the right amount though. And if you've seen in England and places where the sun is less, or they've got like 3 months of sun and the rest of the time is winter, you'll see that the English people and European people's teeth are much more brittle, not that white and strong, and also their bones are quite brittle. So it's because of they not having that much sun like we have here in South Africa. We have a lot of sun. We are sun lovers. So that's why we've got stronger teeth and also stronger bones. It's because of the vitamin D production that our skin causes to happen to make our body strong. Now, like anything, the skin is the hero of the body. But all heroes got enemies. Now, enemies of the skin is out there every day trying to attack the skin, invade the skin, and to cause imbalance in the skin and to cause war within the body. So usually our enemies is insufficient skincare routine. When you don't wash your skin properly, we need to wash our faces morning and night with the correct ingredients, with the correct products researched by labs, not just anything from the shelf like a Dove or Sunlight liquid I've heard some people use to brighten their skins. So yes, it's really important to make sure that you get a stable, continuous skincare routine that you can follow daily, night and at the morning. The other great enemy, a big enemy, is the sun. Although our skin needs sun to survive, exposure of sun can cause a lot of problems. It can cause dehydration, it can cause pigmentation, it can cause wrinkles on the skin because it really damages our collagen and elastic fibers that helps our skin to stay strong and also intact. So it's really important that we do put on sun factor every day. We need a good sunblock that you can apply on the skin, face and neck and in the body when you are exposed to the sun. What a sun factor does, it will help to allow the good rays to enter your skin and treat it as it's needed. But the bad rays will be reflected by the ingredients within the sun factor. That's why a sunblock cannot penetrate the skin. It is like an umbrella that lies upon your skin and prevents and protects the skin from water loss and then also from harmful rays of the sun. Another bad enemy is genetic factors. If grandma had some acne, sometimes it's possible that you might get the acne. If mom had a bad skin and she struggled with dehydration when she was younger, it can possibly happen, but it's only 25% genetics that can really affect your skin. 75% of aging and skin problems comes from collateral damage or from environmental factors. So don't just rely on the genetics. If grandma had a good skin because she used Vaseline, please don't just use that resume. Things have changed from years on. The sun is not the same 50 years ago, so don't try everything that grandma said. Listen carefully and make your own decision. But yes, genetics does have a factor and it can also have a bad factor on the skin. It can be an enemy to the skin. Then another enemy is medicine and treatments that we have to undergo. If you have to use chronic medication, unfortunately the body is working on that problem while using the medicine, so it's abstracting the attention from the skin. So it's really necessary that you, especially when you are on chronic medication, that you look at the right amount of water that you drink a day, the food you eat, and the treatment that you are undergoing to make sure that the skin can uphold itself and then take care of itself while your internal system is using the medicine to treat the problem. So yes, it's very important to make sure that you have the right skincare, protection, health, and try to have a stressless life, especially when you're undergoing medical treatments, because it does have an effect on the skin. It can make the skin bad and it can really tamper with the functions of the skin. Then another problem or enemy of the skin is pollution. When we live closer in the cities, there's much more pollution. The pollution from cars, the smoke from cars really has an effect on our bodies and on our skins. And then people who live by the coast got more healthier skin sometimes because they got fresher air, and then the ocean, everything is just so much better. And even if you live on a farm, there's so much more fresh air, fresh oxygen. So yes, here in the city especially, we need to take extra caution and extra care and protection for our skins. Then stress is the main Mackie of the Pakkie. He's the one that causes the most problem mostly. Usually distress, that's what we call negative stress, causes the adrenal glands to go over into overdrive, which causes blood vessels to constrict, and that prohibits blood flow to the surface of the skin. And then also preventing nutrients, waste, and everything not to be properly drained and nourished to the skin. So it's really important in some ways to keep your stress down. Take time for yourself, always to look into things that are personal for you, to stress, to relieve stress. so that you can have a better skin as well, because stress is evident on the skin. You can see on the skin when a person had stress, dilated capillaries, enlarged pores, pimples sometimes as well, especially during menopause. You might find that you get some pimples sometimes or enlarged pores, and then also the flushness of the cheeks. And then when you're a teenager and you go through adolescence, it's also a very stressful time in your life. It's a stressful stage because you are part adult, but you're also part child. So that really makes the body go into a difficult stress, and that causes breakouts, pimples, and blackheads. So yes, stress is always a very bad enemy of the skin. And if we look into our skincare and we treat our skins every day, it will take a bit away the stress that the skin already has. Now, the most skin problems is usually caused by dehydration and overexposure to sun. Now, just interesting facts about the sun. The sun's rays is UVA rays, UVB rays, and UVC rays. UVA and UVB rays reaches the Earth's surface. UVC doesn't really reach the Earth's surface, but it is used to captivate into factories for its germicidal effects. But if a UVC ray would strike your skin, it will cause immediate cancer. That's why the C stands UVC for cancer. UVB rays is the one that causes our skin to burn. That's why it's called vitamin B. B is for burning. So it's usually also part of the vitamin D production in the epidermis, so it's necessary for vitamin D, but it can also cause pigmentation because it burns the skin. Now UVA, A, stands for aging. That is the ray that goes deep into the dermis and disrupt and destroy our collagen and our elastic fibers, where vitamin B only burns the epidermis. And like we said, vitamin C rarely reaches the Earth's surface, but it can have a cancerous effect if you do come in contact with it. Now, most of us think that when it's cold, the sun is shining less, and when we're on the shade, we don't get any sun rays, but unfortunately, the sun is everywhere, and the sun is very strong, and it gets stronger as the years go by. So 50% of rays still reaches you when you are in the shade. So don't think if you sit under a tree, you won't be affected. You still would be. So always wear a hat and remember your sunblock. Then 50% of rays can get you when you are 1 meter in the water. So even while you are swimming in a pool or swimming in the ocean, you can still be affected by UV rays. And then also 80% of rays reflects from snow. So even if you think you're going for a ski holiday, remember your sunblock, because still the snow and the effect of the sun ray from the snow to your skin can cause sun damage even though it is cold. Then 90% of rays affects you when it is cloudy. Most of the time we think when it's cloudy outside, I don't need my sunblock because there's no sun. But the unfortunate thing is the sun shines through the clouds and disperses the sun rays even more wider. So that rays affects you more. So always apply your sunblock even if you are in the cloudy weather. It can still damage your skin. Then 40% of rays will reach you for every 300 meters above sea level. Usually people who live close to the coast by Durban or by Cape Town, you will always feel when you're on your summer holiday, December, your skin feels great. It feels moisturized, it feels hydrated. Yes, it's because the sun is less effective there, but not meaning that you should not apply a sunblock. But as you move upwards more to your cities like Pretoria or Uppington, then your skin will become drier because we are moving closer to the sun. So don't fool you by just because you're living by the coast not to apply your sunblock. It's necessary to still apply sunblock every morning. Then 10 to 20% of rays reaches us inside a building. Mind, these days with technology, you get blue light, you get UV radiation from lights, from your plasma TV screens, from your laptop, and your cell phone especially. So you are still in contact with sun even if you're not in the outside world. So remember, lights, UV lights, the lamps that we use for our nails, the UV lamps, is still part of UV radiation. It can still damage your skin. The interesting thing is that you think maybe you're working in the office the whole day, you never get outside. My skin cannot be damaged by the sun. But unfortunately, the blue lights in our cell phones and in our laptops projects UV radiation. It still causes damage to the skin. Now, I've read an interesting fact about blue light. While you are looking on your cell phone just before you go to bed, That blue light radiation can actually cause muscle deterioration, and it affects your melatonin, meaning that you will sleep not good. I've seen it. I've actually tested it 3 times in different stages or different times at night. They say you must stay away from blue light, especially a half an hour to an hour before going to bed. Reason why is because it affects your melatonin hormone that helps you to go into a deeper sleep. While you're on your Facebook or whatever in the bed and you put your phone next to you, that blue light sends out a signal to the brain that it is daytime. Your body thinks it is day, and when it is day, your body is in a fight mode. It wants to fight, it wants to work, it wants to be active. But actually it should be in the flight mode. It should be restful and peaceful. That's why we struggle to sleep. And also to sleep deeply, it's because of the melatonin being disturbed. So remember, leave the cell phone. It's not easy. I know we all want to check our Facebook quickly on our Instagram photos before we went to bed. But really it does affect our sleep, and that ray can still damage our skin and cause excess sun damage. So really take good care of that. And then the sun, we all love the sun. The sun makes us feel happy. It makes our skin look good. And they all say that brown fat always look prettier than white fat. So yes, when we are younger, we like to spend some time in the sun, sunbathe. I remember when I was a child, someone told me, you just apply baby oil over to your whole skin. You can lie on this on your couch, or you can lie on the beach, and then you'll tan nicely and deeply. But instead, it actually burned my skin more. So in between 0 and 18 years, that is when we get the most damage to our skins. We won't see it because the skin is still active. It reproduces itself quickly. It heals itself properly. But the skin has a memory, and it remembers all those time that you spend in the sun without protection. So then when you reach 40, that memory comes alive, and then you get pigmentation, sun damage, or problems with your skin. So remember, treat your skin when you are younger. I want to advise you as a woman to really look at your children's faces. Try to put sunblock even on your youngest child from a young age. Teach them about sun. Teach them about blue light, because, have you seen children with technology? They know more about cell phones and tablets than we do. They just know the finger has to go like this, and they scroll through things so easily. But that blue light also has an effect on their skin from even a younger age. When I was that years old, I was playing outside, playing with dolls. We didn't have cell phones. So these days, technology is working for us. It's good for us, but it can also be an enemy to our skin. So we must really protect all of our skins, young and old, so to prevent premature aging and to prevent sun damage on our skins. So now I'm going to talk to you about the type of skins and how you can care for your skin. If you know what type of skin you have, you can also advise your client as a therapist to use the correct products. And as a client, you can also buy the correct products if you know your own skin. It's necessary to know what your skin specifically needs because we are all individual. What is maybe working for your friend might not be working for you. or what's working for your mother is not necessarily going to work for you. So you really need to understand your skin classification and then buy and use the skincare accordingly. Now we've got thin skin. That is what I resemble it to an apple. An apple, you can easily bite through an apple. The rind of an apple is thin. The texture is fine, barely visible pores. It's also soft to the touch. If you feel an apple, it's soft and it glides easily. Now that is part of skins that we do have, is thin skins. Then we have what we call thick skins. Now thick skin is what we call orange peel texture. Usually it's coarse. Enlarged pores, also has a shiny appearance. And then we have mature skin. Now that is when aging has already settled into the skin. I resemble it to a prune. It looks like a prune. Wrinkles and lines are already visible, and the texture of the skin and the skin looks uneven. Texture is uneven and the skin tone is uneven. And then wrinkles, lines, sun damage, pigmentation is also a part of that texture of skin. Now the confusion usually comes when people want to know what's the difference between a skin type and a skin condition. Now there is quite a difference. If you understand that, it will be easier to help your client, to treat your client, and then also to look at your own products as a buyer. Skin type is the type that you are born with. That is classified as normal, oily, sensitive, combination, or dry. It's rarely permanent, so that's the type of skin you will have for the rest of your life, but it might slightly change when you become in puberty or in adolescence. There might be a slight change in the characteristics, but it will eventually stay the same, and then also maybe slightly when you go into menopause. That's the only two stages in life where your face or your skin might go into a different phase, but it will still stay back to basics. Then we talk about the skin condition. Now, skin condition is something that your skin acquires over time. It's usually not permanent, and it is also treatable. You can treat a skin condition, and sometimes condition comes when seasons change from winter to summer. Your skin might have some problems, and then also because of hormones, especially when you're pregnant, during adolescence as well, and then also when you're in your menopausal phase. And then also another thing conditions affected by is medicine, therapies, and things that can alter the definition of your skin. And then also age is also something that can cause certain conditions on the skin, showing that aging or premature aging has already taken place on the skin. Now we're going to go through the 4 types of skin types. You get your normal skin. Now the normal skin is between birth and puberty. That's when all of our skin's got nice fluffy cheeks. The skin is intact. It's healthy. It's glowing. It's uneven. No signs of aging. It's nice and firm. It's a healthy glow. It's soft to the touch. It's not tight nor greasy. And it has good elasticity. That is normal skin. Now we get dry skin. Now dry skin, we get 2 types of dry skin. You get a dehydrated skin. Dehydrated skin means that your skin lacks water. It needs a lot of water. When it's just dry, it means that the skin needs oil. It's oil dry. Sometimes a skin can be oil dry and water dry. You just have to make sure which one it is to address that problem and to give the client the correct skincare for the condition. The apple epidermis is part of the dry skin type. You'll have areas where it's thin skin and it looks dry. There's fine and barely visible pores with the dry skin. It feels tightens after you've washed your face. There might be some flakiness present on the skin, especially in winter times. And in summer, you might slightly have the T-zone area, which is a bit more oily. And then also there's fine lines by a dry skin, and a dry skin can prematurely age. Because of the thin skin, it has to be properly moisturized and nourished to keep that stratum corneum nice and firm, elastic and dense. Then the next skin type is the oily skin. The oily skin has got enlarged pores. It has the look of the orange peel. There's a shiny appearance, and also it is accompanied by pimples, blackheads, comedones, whiteheads, milia, and also uneven pigmentation as well as pigmentation marks. An oily skin is because of the overproduction of sebum on the skin, and usually it's caused by the androgens, which is the male hormone, when especially puberty is starting. Then these problems will be prevalent on the skin. And then it ages slowly. Because of the excess oil, it does prevent premature aging on the skin. An oily skin will have a wonderful, intact, smooth skin for quite a long time. But if it does ages, it ages very instantly and very quickly. So it's really important to make sure that the skin is moisturized and look after. And obviously, sometimes an oily skin can also lead to acne and acne scarring. But if prevention is put in place beforehand, then the skin will still be fine. Then another skin type is what we call sensitive skin. Now that's the client who will walk into your room, and if you see her, you'll see the flushiness in her skin, even if she is not heated up. She doesn't have a hot flush or anything. You can see the visible broken capillaries through her skin and the redness diffusing because of the oxygenated blood in her skin as well. Usually it's a thin skin, so it also relates to the apple skin. There's redness and blotchiness all over the skin. It's got broken capillaries and also dry flaky patches. A sensitive skin is very easily overstimulated. So please take care when you do a facial for her. Scrub and rough products will actually accelerate the sensitivity. So you must look at things that moisturize, soothes, and rather nourishes the skin instead. And a sensitive skin can also be dry. It can be oil dry and it can also be water dry. It also feels tight after it's been washed. And a sensitive skin can also prematurely age. So it's really important to look at anti-aging products for your sensitive client. And remember, sensitive skin always especially needs a sunblock because the sun actually is causing one of the problems that causes the sensitivity in the skin. Then the next skin type is what we call combination skin. Now, combination skin, most people are confused and they will say, oh no, I've got a combination skin. I've got the T-zone, which is oily, and the cheeks, which is dry. That's not normally the case. It can be. The thing what means about combination skin is when you get two or more conditions on the skin. You can have an oily cheek and then a dry forehead, or you can have a sensitive cheek and you can have an oily neck. If you have more than one condition of the skin, that means you have a combination skin. You can even have a sensitive skin, some normal areas, and dryness on the skin and still have combination. And then oiliness is not a part of that solution. So yes, two or more conditions on the skin gives you a combination skin. Now normally in South Africa, most of our skins, mostly 90 to 80% of clients got a combination skin because of the weather and the environment that we have here in South Africa. But yes, always look that you don't confuse it just with a T-zone that is oily and the cheeks that is dry. Please take care to make sure that you give your clients the correct combination for their skin types. Combination skin also changes according to seasons. So you'll get that the cheeks might be more drier in the winter, and then in the summer you might have some oiliness prevalent on the cheeks maybe, or on the forehead, or whoever. So yes, the combination skin also says that it might change with the weathers as well. So just take care with your client that you would advise her for a bit richer cream for night during the winter when she's combination, and then in the summer give her a lighter moisturizer for the day to prevent oiliness and to try to treat the oiliness. Yes, so I just want to explain you the difference between moisture. Sometimes we get confused about what is moisturizing, what is nourishing. Moisturize means water. Moisture elevates to water. So that's when the skin is dehydrated and it needs a lot of water. Nourishes means oil. So that is the food for the skin. Water is like really water for skin, and nourishing means that we are giving oil to the skin. We are giving skin food to the skin. Homeostasis. When there's a good balance between water and oil in the skin is in good health and it's in perfect conditions. Skin conditions will be less, the skin will look good and great like in the normal skin type. But when there is imbalance in the skin of any sort, if there's less water or too much water or too less oil or too much oil, it causes skin conditions. Skin conditions and problems come because of the balance between water and oil is not correct. And as you can see, our bodies has more water. We've got 90% of water inside of our bodies. Oil is less, but we do need the oil to keep our skin supple, intact and firm. The only way our skin can really be nourished by water is by product supplication, by drinking correct things, staying away from your coffees and diuretics, alcohol and things like that can extract water from out of your skin. Chronic medication also extracts a lot of water out of the skin, so it's necessary that we drink the correct amount of water. And now they say usually that you should drink 2 liters of water a day, but you can't tell a child of 5 to drink 2 liters and let's say a man of 120 kilograms to drink 2 liters. It won't be the same. So I've been coming up with a solution that if you want to know how much water you should drink, you should take your weight as it is on that stage divided by 10. That will give you the amount of glasses that you should drink. If you're a great coffee drinker like me, I like my coffee, or you like your alcohol, your wine once in a while, or you are on chronic medication, you must make sure that you add 2 to 3 or 4 glasses of water to accommodate for that. Our body needs water to function and to travel our nutrients and our food and our waste in our body. So it's really important that we refuel constantly. When your mouth feels dry and you feel thirsty, it is already too late. You should have drank water way back an hour to 2 hours ago already. So it's really important to sip water regularly during the day and not gulp it up all in one stage, because then you flood the body with water and then the rest of the day it's drying out. So it's necessary to give it regular water at a regular stage, sipping it nice and slowly. I like to start my mornings usually with a glass of water, just to give the body a kickstart, because the body needs already 2 liters of water just to get in action every day. So it's really necessary that you add some water during the day and not just rely on that 2 liters that it already has. So the only way we can supplement is by drinking it. The body cannot create water by its own. We are made with water inside, but to supplement and to fill it up, we need water from the outside through our fruits, right, correct vegetables, lifestyle, and then also by drinking water. Now we are coming to certain types of skin conditions that you can get because of the skin lacking water or because of an imbalance in the skin. Usually one of those are excess oil. Now excess oil is caused by the overproduction of the sebaceous glands. So the skin has an oily shine, usually prevalent on the T-zone, where the pores will also be more enlarged. Now luckily Willa Krause has got a lot of products that will handle the oiliness and create a better balance in the skin. Usually when the skin is producing too much oil, it's actually because the skin is dehydrated. It wants to compensate it. It wants to make up for the water that it's losing or getting rid of some way or the other. So it's really necessary that you don't just scrub and rub and use harsh products on a skin that is oily, because it needs the gentleness of water to balance it and to neutralize the oil on the skin. Then we get dehydration. Now dehydration is when the skin really lacks water and something is taking all the water out of the skin. It can be a medical condition, it can be medicine, it can be lifestyle, it can be too much sun, it can be incorrect skincare. But luckily with Willa Krause we can treat dehydrated skin, especially with therapies like our Dermapen, Dr. Pen treatments, and also with our rejuvenated treatments, and then with the products for home care. It's a problem or condition that can really easily be treated if given the correct attention to. We'll also see with the dehydrated skin that there are fine cracks in the skin, and if those cracks are not adhered to, it can really cause deep lines and deep set wrinkles. Now, a common problem in our skin is usually blackheads, which is called open comedones. It's because of sebum and dead skin cells that accumulate and blocks a pore, and then when it comes in contact with oxygen, it blackens. That's why it's called a blackhead. Now, a blackhead is not contagious. You can remove it by using gloves or earbuds in a treatment room. Please don't try and squeeze your face at home. It can actually cause damage. Allow a trained therapist to help you remove it efficiently and effectively without leaving any scars. I know we are all tempted, but it's not good. Leave it to the professionals rather. But luckily, most of the products we have will help to dissolve and prevent the formation of blackheads, comedones, and milia on the skin. And then an open comedone is a comedone that is trapped by a layer of skin where the dead skin cells has also blocked the pore. So if you do gently squeeze it, it looks like a worm. If it comes out like a streamer, that's what we call an open comedone. You can treat it. It's not contagious. The therapist can efficiently also remove it for you so that it doesn't congest your skin any further. And then also most of the exfoliating products and serums of Willa Krause also helps the skin for even exfoliation. So then comedones will be less prevalent in the skin. If you have a consistent skincare routine, you can prevent the formation of these skin conditions. Then we get pustules and papules. Now papules is just a red, raised, elevated bump on the skin. Usually if you press it, nothing comes out except a thin watery fluid. I usually call it a stress spicy. That's when you know you are on your way to your wedding, and then the next morning when you wake up, you've got this red dot on your face because of stress. I call it a stress spicy. Usually it comes when you're very stressed, and if you press it, just nothing comes out. It's just a blocked pore because of lymph being stuck in the skin. It hasn't been drained properly, and then it causes the inflammation, which we call then a papule. A papule is not infectious unless it is yellow and it's got pus inside. But rather leave it be because that tissue is very sensitive, it's very red. Usually if you do go and press on a papule, the next morning when you wake up, it's like a knoets, a big bump on the skin because of you tampering with it. It doesn't like it. It's like you're poking something and it becomes a monster. So just leave it out, put acne gel or anything else on it, it will go away on its own. Then a pustule is a pimple. Another name for it is a pimple. It's because of excess sebum that is blocking the sebaceous gland. Then there becomes inflammation, and then pus can also develop. Now the pus is bacteria, so it is infectious. So don't press. I know we all want to pick on a pimple because it doesn't look good, but at the end we are just spreading the germs. The next morning the whole face can look like a pizza because you've touched your face during the day, you haven't seen what you've been doing, and then that pimple is spreading all over the skin by you with your nails. I mean, your nails is one of the dirtiest places. That's why if you wash your hands, you should actually also wash the nails because it's really dirty and it spreads germs so much easier. That's why you don't press a pimple with your fingers. Try and use it here, but if it's really a problem, but if you can, just leave it alone. Don't pick on pimples. Usually, I know from a very young age that I wanted to be a beautician because my sisters or my husband, when they got a pimple, I was running after them. Come here, I want to squeeze you. Then they ran away. If they had a pimple, they stayed away from me because I just wanted to take it out. But it's not a good thing. As a therapist, you think you're helping someone, but rather leave it. You can apply acne gel and work all around it. It can be contagious. You can spread it to the rest of your client. Rather perform a glycolic peel or something more gentle that will help to antibacterialize the area. Apply anti-acne gel or also the tea tree lotion that can be more treatable to the area. So rather not distract or extract a pimple. Then whiteheads or milia. Now that is like that white ball that you can see underneath the skin. It's also sebum and dead skin cells being trapped, but it forms like a pearl or a ball underneath the skin. Usually if you press on a milia, it will not come out. It just struggles to get out. It's not a worm-like experience, so you have to remove a whitehead with a needle extractor. Usually your beauty therapist can help you with that. Some people go to the doctor, but you can really ask your beautician. They know exactly how to extract it. If you squeeze on it, it will not come out because it's so settled and nestled into the skin. You have to lift it out. So it's really important that you look at that because a whitehead, it stretches the skin. So if you do not take it out, it can create a bigger ball and stretch the skin even further. And then when it's removed, then you have a hole or you have a scar. So it's really important to take care of this milia, but luckily Willa Krause also has got exfoliators and skin renewal radiance serum that help the skin to successfully exfoliate. The reason why a milia happens is because the skin doesn't exfoliate properly. So in that stage, my daughter's skin, I don't know why she's got this whiteheads around her eye. And I checked it and I saw, sure, but it's quite a lot for a young lady of her age, as the skin needs to exfoliate itself quite regularly in a good phase because she's still young. And I told her I'm not a doctor, but I would advise you maybe just to check her cholesterol levels. No, but she doesn't even eat fat and she's still young and she drinks a lot of water. And I said, no, I understand that. But I mean, you can be born with high cholesterol. You don't have to be in an aging stage or even higher in life. You can start as a baby with high cholesterol. And then when I saw her again a few weeks ago, she came back to me and she said, you know what, we did go for blood tests. And they did say that my child's cholesterol is a bit higher than it should be. So then that's the reason why she had the accumulation of whiteheads. So obviously we removed some of them and it looked better already. But then luckily when they put her on a small type of medication, just a light blend of cholesterol controlling pills, the accumulation of the whiteheads went away eventually. So yes, it does also show problems inside of the body, systemic, not just on the skin itself. And it's not always just because of a lack of skincare. Sometimes the body is telling you through the skin that there's something wrong inside. You must go and check. And then also what milia can cause is oily substances. If your skin cannot take too oily or rich creams, then those oils accumulate in your skin cells and in your pores and then can also cause the milia. So you can just check the cause, maybe ask your client questions. That's why you have to ask your client, what does she think? She must reply to you what her routine is so that you can see what is the problem at the end and then diagnose and give her the right products to use. Yes, and then we get what we call hormonal imbalances where our client has excess facial hair. Usually we can help a client with that. It's because of the testosterone hormone in the skin, because of the sex hormones developing, especially when a teenager goes into puberty and after adolescence, and also during menopause and pregnancy, unwanted hair can develop on the skin. Now luckily, products can also be used, but luckily you can also do facial waxing or even laser hair removal if necessary. But that can be a problem for some clients, so luckily we as beauty therapists can help our clients in that way with alternative therapies. Then seborrhea. It is a condition that affects also quite a lot of women. Sometimes it is excess sebum that is also secreted by the sebaceous glands. The hair and the skin, not just the skin, but the hair is also very oily. There's blackheads, pimples, and also a lot of acne can develop. So if it's not treated, the condition can lead to active acne. So you must really look at the skin, take great care of it, give it nice and nourishing products, but also check the moisture balance in the skin. And then a condition that most of teenagers and even adults in these days are struggling with is acne vulgaris. Now, acne vulgaris is hereditary sometimes. If your father or mother had it, there is a chance that you might get it, but sometimes not. It all really depends on genetic factors, your lifestyle, medication, stress on your life, and things like that. So it's also because of the sebaceous glands, not just overproducing oil, it's because the sebaceous glands get inflamed because of a bacterial infection inside of the body. Now, our body does need bacteria to keep it protected, but this is a bad bacteria that really damages tissue, and it really can cause a lot of acne scarring that is ugly and very difficult to treat in later stages of life. So this is an infection that comes from the inside of the body. I know sometimes people say, oh, jy eet 'n chocolate, jy gaan nou acne kry nie. It's not just because of chocolate. Yes, eating lifestyle is important. You need to eat fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, drink a lot of water, look at your skin, but it's not because of chocolates. Chocolates can worsen the effect and certain materials, but it's not because of the chocolate. It's not because you're unclean. Some people think an acne skin is a client who doesn't clean her skin. That's not always the reason. It's because of a bacterial infection. There's an imbalance inside the body going on, androgens and hormones fighting with one another. So it's really a war inside the body. So then the war is obviously present and showing on the skin. So be very careful with the acne skin. Acne skins are usually very sensitive skin. Acne skin gets pimples, blackheads, raised and elevated bumps, and there can also be scarring, different types of scarring. And sometimes you get clients, then they walk into your room when the child has just started puberty, then they'll tell you, oh, my kind het acne, then they've got one pimple on the nose. That's not acne. Acne is where there's an infestation of bacteria. You can easily see an acne client from a normal pimple. If you want to make sure if your client's got acne, check her chest and check her back. because those are the areas where there's a lot of sebaceous glands and they get very active, especially in this stage. So if you just want to make sure your prognosis for that client, check her back and check her chest. If there's bumps and lumps and also pimples, then you know, okay, this client really has acne. Now, we can help a client with acne, but the best is to give her products to use at home, but refer that client to the doctor because it's really a bacterial infection. And what do you do with bacteria usually when you're sick? You give antibiotics. So sometimes a dermatologist or a physician had to look inside the body first before we address the skin. If the body is sorted, then we can again help that client do some peels, do some dermapen to help with the acne scarring. So just don't go and treat acne skin and druk al die paisies uit en dit gaan rof daar binne en al te lekker, but then afterwards you can really worsen the skin condition. Because that skin is so inflamed and the tissue is so impaired that you can really cause more damage than good. So if you're not certain, I mean, we're just humans. If you don't know, rather tell your client, you know what, I don't want to worsen this condition. Just take her to the doctor, and after you've been to the doctor, come back and then I will help you treat any damage. The fastest you treat the damage on acne skin, the better it is for that skin. Most people think that acne scarring is deep set scars. It's not really a scar. Acne scarring, they call it acne scarring, but it's actually just missing tissue. Missing tissue because of inflammation. And that tissue is tissue that can be treated and can also be stimulated to come back and grow back. So that's the difference between acne scarring and a scar that you get from maybe damage or when you were cut or when you were bruised very heavily. So we must remember that it is treatable, but just wait it out a bit. Just wait out and then you can peacefully handle that client. As you can see in the picture as well, how acne, it starts in the normal pore, then it becomes inflamed, then it becomes blocked, and then there you can see the redness, the lump. It really creates uneven texture on the skin. So yes, you must really take good care of an acne client. They are really sensitive also and very emotional. So it's not just a bodily thing, it's also an emotional thing. What I like to do with my clients, if they do struggle a lot with acne and they come in and their skins look terrible and they're emotional and they're shy, they can't even, I don't know if you've seen it, but if a client has acne, quite a lot of acne, they can't look you in the eye. Because they're so emotional, because they are thinking you're only looking at the pimples and at the problem and you're not looking at them or seeing them as a person. You're only seeing this disaster. So what I do is I send them home and tell them, okay, go and let your doctor just check your hormones, check your blood levels. Maybe there's something they can help you from the inside. But I also send them home with a fat burner from Willa Krause. Because of the vitamin C in the fat burn and the diuretic effects, it also helps to neutralize the bacteria in the skin. And it gives that body that metabolism and fight to carry on and not to give up with the fight. So it's really important that you at least give them something to cleanse the body from the inside. And that will help also the skin to heal from outside. So that's one product that I've seen really work for the acne skin clients, is to drink, and it also gives them energy and it gives them mental capacity, so it helps them to concentrate, so it makes them feel good a bit. And if they feel better about themselves, then the acne will eventually also be get rid of because of their emotions intact and they feel a lot better about themselves. So that's one product I would really advise as well. If you can't treat exactly the client with a treatment on that time, you can send them home with a product at least. And then rosacea. Now rosacea is what we call the butterfly effect. It always sounds to me like a scary X-File movie. But yes, the butterfly effect is the redness and diffusion because of menopause usually. Rosacea, they also call it roos. Now it can affect your skin and it can also affect the rest of your body. It's a chronic inflammation of the skin and it's caused by stress. A lot of stress. I mean, usually in your menopausal stage, if that is not enough stress, your children are usually in their teenage phases, and then your husband works long hours, so there's a lot of stress in the family that affects the wife or the person in that stage. So yes, younger people can also get rosacea, but it's usually in your menopausal stage from 40 up that most people struggle with rosacea. There's redness, thickening of skin, the skin looks oozy. There can also be pimples. You can get pimples on a rosacea skin. There is broken capillaries, the pores are enlarged. Usually rosacea is caused by excessive alcohol, spicy foods, and then also menopause can worsen the condition, and it's because also of incorrect skincare, and then stress and heat can cause this condition to worsen. So it's really important to try and give this client products that nourishes, soothes, and heals. You can treat a client like this. Rosacea is not contagious. It's just something inside that client's body that's producing this redness and sensitivity. Then usually sometimes even younger children, younger clients, and older clients struggle with dilated capillaries or couperose. It's usually when the skin is very thin and you can see the blood veins and the capillaries through the skin. So it's necessary to make sure that this skin is protected by a good sunblock. You can treat the skin with nice facials, with massage especially, to increase blood circulation to the skin. Don't do any harsh treatments in the beginning. Try to get the skin firm and strong first, and then you can continue treating whatever it is. Now, most of our toners and our creams will treat the capillaries and help the skin to be more tighter and a more natural color. Then enlarged pores is also something most clients complain about. Now, enlarged pores is due to oily skin when you were younger, and that causes the skin to stretch and causes the pores to look more visible. So with Willa Krause skincare, we can treat enlarged pores. It's very easy to treat. We've got a lot of ingredients that tightens the pores. It exfoliates the skin, helping the skin to fill in that area, making the stratum cornea stronger. So treatments and the correct products can help, especially with your enlarged pores. Now, what treatment usually works great for our enlarged pores clients is the Dermapen. Dermapen, Rejuvenator, all those kind of treatment because it strengthens the skin and the muscles, but it works especially on the pores and it helps to refine the pores and to get the pores back to it maybe was before. So yes, there is treatments and products that we can use for enlarged pores to help them look better and less visible. Then you do get some clients that struggle with eczema a lot. It's sometimes because of allergies. Your client might have some allergies or hay fever. Eczema is caused by irritation or inflammation of the skin. It can sometimes be also because of skincare products. So that can also be the reason why some clients develop eczema, or a deep peel or treatment that has been done that caused damage to the skin, causing the skin to lose water. Transepidermal water loss is caused by something, so water has been lost through the skin, so the skin gets irritated and the firm barrier that the skin should have had is broken down. So substances are entering in and water is evaporating out of the skin, causing the redness and the diffusion. So it's also stress related. Eczema can be a stress related condition. If you are stressed a lot, you can get eczema anytime in life. You can never get eczema maybe from glycerine, and then all of a sudden your skin just doesn't like glycerine anymore. It can happen anytime in your life, and it can be for no other reason. Nobody can really know. That's the interesting thing about eczema. It comes and goes as it pleases. Dermatitis is the same, though in the same family. Dermatitis means inflammation. Itis, the itis always stands for inflammation. Anything with itis behind it talks about inflammation. So it's inflammation of the skin because of something you ate, a material, product that you use, or pollutants, or anything from the outside that affected your skin and causes a rash. It's not contagious, so you can work on a client with eczema or psoriasis, but always remember to give them products, especially something with oil in it, to strengthen their barriers, to protect water loss, and then also to protect the redness on the skin. Then psoriasis, this is a family. Eczema, dermatitis, and psoriasis is of the same family. All stress related, but the only significance about psoriasis is that it's the multiple exfoliation of skin cells is 10 times higher than in any other skin, causing the crusty scale, the silvery scales, especially on your large joints like your elbows, your knees, and like behind the neck, where it's usually a lot prevalent. It's very related to stress and also to trauma. When maybe a person as a child had a traumatic experience, sometimes it creates that damage within the memory of the cell that we talked about previously, and then later in life it shows through the psoriasis or the eczema. So yes, it can be because of trauma that can also cause the skin problem, but you can work on it and you can help the skin to get stronger to prevent the water loss from the skin. Then we get sometimes that people's got warts on the skin. A wart is caused by the human papilloma virus. It's usually in the dermis, one of the first layers of the dermis, where the wart comes from. It's not contagious, but if your immune system is depressed and you would touch a person with a wart, you can contract it. So if you do work in a salon environment, you should apply a Vaseline around the wart, and then you can still work on it. The Vaseline traps it, and then you can't contract it. So you can work on a client. And some products like the Skin Renewal Radiance with its lactic acid can actually help smother a wart and take away the oxygen. So you can treat it, but you should give that product home to the client. Don't treat it in the salon. Then a cold sore. Now, some people will come to your salon and they will have a cold sore. A cold sore is a sign of a depressed immune system, and it's caused by the herpes simplex virus. So it's a virus that causes the cold sore. And the strange thing about this type of virus is if it comes around the 1 year, it will come around again. It's really like that unwanted family coming every year to visit you, and they just take over your house. Unfortunately, that's what a cold sore does. It comes back yearly, especially in certain time of year, especially in the winter when it's cold and when your immune system is depressed. So when you work on this client, you can also work with her. You don't have to send her home, but it is contagious. So don't try to touch the cold sore on her mouth. If she wants to do a lip wax, rather extend that a week later, but you can still do a facial. You can apply Vaseline. It will keep the cold sore trapped and protected, and you can work all around it. So just make sure that you don't touch it. That's the important thing. And then what's good about the cold sore is you can give our acne gel from Willa Krause. It works for the cold sore. It takes away the pain that some people will say, "Oh, ek voel my lip klop." Dan's dit daai cold sore. A cold sore has a pounding effect. It really feels like your finger when it's bumped. It feels like blood is pouring, but it's not. So yes, you can apply the acne gel to take away the pain until the crust is formed. If the crust is formed, then the herpes simplex virus is already done its thing. It's out of die mense is al 'n pad uit jou huis uit. Hulle het al hulle tasse gepak, so you can know they are on their way. So then you don't have to worry about the cold sore anymore. Then a keloid, some people will lie on your bed, or you will see a client with scars because of trauma, an accident that she might have had, or she had an operation. Some clients did go for surgical procedures, like for lifting of the skin, and then also for plastic surgery. So you can work with a client on scar. We've got a lot of serums in Willa Krause that helps the scar to look better, to be less red and lumped. But a keloid is sometimes a scar that still continues to grow. So just be careful to work too much with an electrical current like your rejuvenator machine on that area. You can work around it, but don't work on top of the scar, because if it's still a growing scar like a keloid, you can actually enhance the growness of that skin growth. A scar can grow for up to 2 years, sometimes even more. It depends on you as a client. So really just check that you don't enhance the growth of the scar, because nobody likes a scar. I mean, men can have scars. That looks good. It looks like they weren't just a mama's boy. They were rough and tough a bit. So I like scars on me. But a woman with scars is not the same. We need to look beautiful. That's why we don't want scars. But sometimes we do have them, so we can still treat them. Luckily, like I said, with a lot of cleansers from Willa Krause and also some of the serums and sun protection, you can make a scar less visible. Then skin tags is the other thing. I know we are all tempted in the salon or at home to just take a tweeze and pluck it off, but it's not a good thing. It can cause infection, and it can really get a big problem. So the best is that you can visit your physician. They can burn it off with electromagnetic therapy, high frequency. Even some therapists are trained to do it. So if you are trained, you can do it at your salon. But don't just go and buy a machine from Takealot and dan sê Tannie, ek brand gou vir jou al hierdie velle af. Nee, you can't do that. You must be trained. It's called the lamp probe, and it's a specific machine that you are trained in. It takes up to a year to train in that machine to remove skin tags efficiently. Now, skin tags is because of friction. Some kind of friction on the skin, and it's usually prevalent on the neck, usually under the breast and also in the groin, where there's a lot of friction. Usually your obese clients or your diabetic clients might struggle with these things. You can still work on the client. You can still do a facial. It's not contagious. You won't get her skin tags. It's just she's got the skin tags. But don't try and pluck it off. I know when we buy clothes, the first thing I do is I take off the price tag. This is not the same. So don't go and pluck on all the Tannie's price tags. It can cause infection, but you can still treat her. You can do a facial for her, so you can still make her feel good. Okay, then we get moles. Now, moles is usually, it depends on where it's situated. It's a beautiful thing. I like the one that the Enrique Iglesias had. I mean, it looks so sexy, but then he removed it. I don't know why. Maybe it got cancerous, because a mole can get cancerous. Be careful. Don't use your machine over the mole. You can work around the mole. There's nothing that you can do really to take away a mole. A client has to go to the doctor to be removed surgically, because a mole spreads under the skin and you will never know how far it has extended. So don't try to do anything on a mole. You can just work around it, but take care, especially if you know your client and if it's a client that comes regularly. If a mole changes in size, shape, color or texture, you must really alert your client to go to the doctor and check it, because it can become malignant melanoma. Most clients die today because of malignant melanoma, of moles that they don't know about, especially moles that is at the back, that dies younger children even. So you must really help your client. If you see changes in a mole, you must advise your client to go to the doctor and check it, because it can really, really save her life. And then liver spots. Liver spots got nothing to do with a liver disease. It's just a name that they've given to a skin problem because of aging skin. It's called solar lentigus, and it's because of exposed production of sun. So it causes the sun to cause a patch to burn on your skin, usually on the back of your hands, and then can be on the face or any other part of the body. Some clients even has a lot of liver spots on their legs. If they liked running, doing some tennis, especially outdoor sports, then you will see some areas of their skin showing patches of brown pigmentation. And it's because of aging. So you usually get it when you are older. From 40 up, you start to get patches on the skin. It's because of the functioning. Remember, we talked about the melanocyte. It loses 10 to 20% of function every year after the age of between 35 and 40. So then that's why that patch will be created. It's the melanocyte that got tired. It's on pension. And then it just leaves everything. Then another skin condition that we have is freckles. Now, freckles usually is something that you are born with, but it's not because when you are born, it's when the exposure to sun comes, then the pigmentation through the freckles are coming to the skin. So yes, if you've seen a baby, no baby is born with freckles, but it is acquired over time through the exposure of sun because of the genetics in the skin. So yes, freckles is related to genetic nature. So if the parents got freckles, usually the children also has got freckles. You can treat freckled skin. You can nicely moisturize the skin, but a freckled skin usually needs a lot of sun factor. It's usually a very sensitive skin, and you need to truly look after that skin and not do too many harsh or hard treatments on the skin. Give it nice products that can treat it. It can lighten. Some of the serums and products can lighten freckles, but if it's part of the gene pool, it's really difficult to eliminate freckles completely. Some clients do laser resurfacing. You can do some glycolic pills, but yes, freckles is part of the skin. So makeup can cover it and you can treat it, but sometimes it is part of who you are. So it's better just to accept it and just live with it and enjoy it for who you are. It's a specific characteristic. So yes, enjoy it rather, but it can be treated. Then pigmentation is one of the worst problems that we struggle here in South Africa with because of our sun exposure, because we love the sun and the sun makes us happy. We like hunting, we like outdoors, we like sports, we like living on the wild side. So that's why the sun has an effect on our skin and it damages our melanocytes like we talked about previously. Melanocytes are destroyed by collateral damage, usually by sun exposure. So it causes the melanocyte to break down and then also loses its capacity and its production. So that's why patches of pigmentation is then formed on the skin. It's that area of skin that just got so damaged that it causes a patch. So pigmentation is a really big problem in South Africa, but luckily Willa Krause is on the top of technology and improves the formulas regularly to make sure that we treat pigmentation as far as possible. Prevention is always better than cure, so it's good to always remember your sunblock. Then it will prevent in some ways for us to create and get hyperpigmentation. Now you get two types of pigmentation. Hyperpigmentation means it is when the skin becomes darker. It's a patch of skin. It's also called chloasma. Then we get hypopigmentation. Hypopigmentation means that the skin has a lack of pigment. It's also called vitiligo. Now, vitiligo is also caused by a virus in the skin. It's not a virus that can be attracted. It's not infectious. It's in the person's body, and it's sometimes because of a depressed immune system that the skin just doesn't create the correct color evenly, and then you get the patches of white. That patch of white skin is really very sensitive to the sun, and it's really important that that client applies sunblock regularly and of a good formulation, not just any sunblock. Then what causes our pigmentation? Usually it's hormones, pregnancy, menopause, the contraceptive pill sometimes, and also stress. It has an effect of pigmentation and causes the skin to over-exaggerate, especially the melanocyte, which tries to protect the skin, and then it causes patches of patches of brown on the skin. After inflammation, damaged tissue excites and stimulates blood circulation to heal the wound, and then the melanocyte, which produces the melanin, is also stimulated, causing the pigmentation. Skin disease, sometimes acne or eczema, because there was inflammation and tissue damage. The tissue is sensitive to the light, and then when light shines on it, like the sun, it causes pigmentation and dark spots. Photosensitivity, certain medication that we use, contraceptive pills, and also certain chronic medication, causes the skin to have a sensitivity to light, which we call photosensitivity. So even your cell phone, your laptop, the light that is shone through it, through the light spectrum, blue light, red light, or any type of light, yellow light, affects the skin and causes pigmentation. Then another thing that causes pigmentation is trauma. Free radicals alter the DNA of cells, and then it causes incorrect growth of skin cells. And then antioxidants can normalize the skin activity, but then pigmentation can be resolved because of the trauma done to the skin. So yes, mostly Willa Krause serums, cleansers, has a lot of antioxidants and vitamins in it, so it can really help and target and lighten pigmentation. A great treatment for pigmentation is also the Dr. Pen treatment that is specialized to work on that area and to lighten the skin and to normalize the skin in that area. So that's also a treatment that you can perform to your client, as well as the rejuvenator, to help prohibit, inhibit, and also treat pigmentation. Skin cancer is obviously that in South Africa we have more cases of skin cancer because we are close to the sun, and we do like the beach and we like the sun on our faces. It makes us feel happy, it makes us feel soothing, and it makes us feel energetic. But on the other hand, it can also cause the problem of skin cancer. Now, skin cancer, if a person gets skin cancer, it is not contagious. It is that person's skin that has been damaged. Usually skin cancer is a growth of skin that bleeds or that forms a crust and it doesn't want to heal. Then it can develop into cancer, skin cancer. Now, skin cancer has got different stages, so it all depends, but usually looks like a blister and it bleeds and it doesn't want to heal properly. It's usually not hereditary, so if your father or mother had skin cancer and they didn't like the sun, it can be that you can get it and they didn't have it at all. Usually skin cancer is also because of a depressed immune system. So yes, it's very important in South Africa how sunblock really protects us also against skin cancer. But if your client has skin cancer, you can still treat her and give her products, but just stay away from the areas where the sores and the bleeds are. Also, again, apply Vaseline to protect that area, and you can still work on that skin. Just be careful for electromagnetic fields. Just stay away from the areas. Then skin mapping. Now, this is just a map of the skin to show that our skin is also a projection of what the body is inside. How I usually explain it is like a car. When you drive your car, you don't really know what's going on the inside of the motor. Your dashboard usually shows you. When you're running out of fuel, there's a red light that will indicate to you must stop and put petrol in, otherwise your car is going to stall. So that's also what your skin does. It shows you where there's an other part of the body or internal or systemic problem that you should look at. Maybe overheating, the redness in the skin, there's some area that's overheated in the skin, and then sometimes puffiness around the eyes. It's not just because of heavy creams. It can also indicate liver or kidney problems. So you must really check if it's a persistent problem and skincare doesn't work for it anymore. You have to go to your doctor and check. It might be just a slight alteration of medicine or just a treatment, and then your products will also work better for you. So this is just a nice picture to show the different areas of the skin and how it is affected by organs in the body, how it relates to organs. Usually in your menopausal stage, you will maybe find a pimple, or even in your menstrual cycle, you'll find pimples all over the mouth. It's an indication of the stomach acid because of the stress that it brings, and that causes outbreaks. It's not something permanent usually, it's because in that stage your body is under pressure because of the cycle and the pain and the swelling that it brings with it. Skin analysis. Now that is very important when you want to give your clients the correct products to use. You can also do your own skin analysis at home as a client if you can't go to your beauty therapist. So the main thing we look at skin analysis, usually we use a magnifying lamp. When your client is on your bed, you will wash her skin properly. You will remove all the makeup. Then you won't apply freshener yet. The clean skin will be analyzed and then looked under the magnifying lamp. The magnifying lamp magnifies, that's what it says, it magnifies by using the light. It will show sun damage, problems, anything on the skin that you can see with the eye, you can look through the magnifying lamp. Now you do get some type of machines that you can do skin analysis with that test the moisture. By applying the electrode to the skin, it will show you the percentage of moisture and oil balance. That's also good to use, but I always believe hands-on is the best. So try and use your hands to do a skin analysis, because you can feel and touch the texture of the skin and then make your decision according to the products that you have to give to your client. So you can use technology in a skin analysis as well, but always use the hands as well. So what you will do is your hands will be cleaned. You will usually have gloves. If some clients don't like gloves, you can just have nice sanitizer on your hands and make sure that your client knows that you are going to enter into her personal space, that you're going to touch her skin and feel her skin to make sure what type of skin she has. You will feel the skin texture. That is why we will go back to the prune. You'll see if she's got uneven texture through the prune example, or you will see areas of texture where there's apple, thin and barely visible pores, and then the other is the orange. You will see where there is areas of oiliness and then coarse areas by touching the skin. While you glide, you can use the back of your hand and you will glide across your client's skin and feel where is it rough, where is it soft, where is it smooth, and where is it uneven. Then the skin color, you will check, does she have a lot of redness coming through the skin? Is there a lot of yellow coming through the skin? If the skin is very yellowish, you can advise her just to check her gallbladder maybe, because bile usually gives a greenish yellow glow to the skin. So then there might be a systemic problem, and that's also why skincare is not working for her, because of a systemic problem and the skin mapping that we talked about previously. So yes, the color, check the color. Is it red? Does she have broken capillaries? Then you know that her skin is very sensitive. If the skin is very blue and grayish, you know that she needs a lot of attention. The circulation of blood is closer to the inside of the body and the skin has a dullish look. So she needs a bit of exfoliation done on the skin to enhance the circulation and then also the bright, healthy color through the skin. Sensitivity is you check the skin sensitivity. Also, when you wash even a client's skin, you will be able to see if she's sensitive or not. I've seen clients, if you start washing them, they start going red. So then you know this is a very sensitive client. You should be very coarse in your prediction of products, and you must also check how her skin reacts to strong active ingredients. Rather give her the lower concentrations to help build her skin to get stronger. Then we check for circulation. Now circulation we do practically. We take the forefinger, our index finger, we press it in between the eyes and we let our finger lift from her forehead. Then if the skin bounces back immediately, you know her circulation is good. And then you know she's got good circulation, good lymph drainage, everything is going well there. Then the oil versus the moisture. Obviously you can touch her skin and feel, do you feel oiliness or anything on the skin? Is there flakiness on the skin? Then it will indicate oily areas and then your dry areas. The other way how you can check your client's oil or moisture balance is by turning her head sideways. You take your forefinger and you lift the skin from the jaw upwards. That part of skin you will see it makes maybe fine lines, slight ridges or heavy grooves. That's how you will know if the client is oil dry. If she's oil dry, there will be heavy and deep grooves while the skin is lifted. If there's only fine lines, then it means that she's only dehydrated. So then you can give her more moisture for the dehydration and then also more oily products for the deep grooves to treat the problem and to help her with her skin. Then elasticity, you can check the elasticity of the skin by taking your thumb and your index finger, take a piece of skin between the jaw, nicely firm grip it, and then pull it and let it go back and see how quickly it bounces back to the jaw. If it takes a while on its way back, then you know the elasticity is not good anymore and that client is already entering stages of maturity. If the skin bounces back quickly, you know that the skin is still elastic and there's still enough collagen being produced and elastin that keeps the skin strengthened and firm. Then the next thing you will check is for your abnormalities. Now, abnormalities is like pigmentation, uneven texture, pimples, blackheads, milia, rosacea, eczema, skin tags, moles, scars, anything like that we talked about. That is forms of abnormalities that you can check and note it so that you can give her the correct products to treat some of those abnormalities and try to get the skin as normal as possible. Now, it is very important that in our skincare routine, daily and nightly, we do these 4 steps. The 4 steps of skincare: 1 is cleansing, 2nd is toning, the third step is divided into moisturize, which means special treatments. That is where our eye care comes in, and that is special treatments relates to our serums that we will apply to get moisture into the skin. Then the next phase is B, which means is nourishing and moisturizing. That's in the form of a moisturizer. Then number 4 is the sun protector. We need to protect our skins in the morning and also then at night. You won't be applying a sunblock at night. We have a product that we call Advanced Moisture Protection, which gives moisture protection at night while you are sleeping, rubbing against a pillow or even using your hands in your face while you're sleeping, because we don't know what we're doing while we're sleeping. So it's always nice to protect the skin. It's not a product that penetrates like the sunblock. It only umbrellas over the skin and it prevents moisture loss from the skin while you are sleeping. Now, just to come back to cleanse, how do we cleanse our skin? Usually some people just do this as a quick routine, but I really want to challenge you to take some time off and really take the effort to correctly cleanse the skin. That makes the world of difference. In the beginning, it will seem like long and boring time put into your skin, but the thing is about the skin, if you invest time in the skin, it will be investment worthwhile in a later stage of life when you do need it. When you as a person will look younger than persons the same age as you because you have put time and effort into the skin. The skin likes continuity and stability. You can't just wash your face one day and then go 3 days and then wash it again. It likes to have a consistent routine. It's just like a child. It needs routine, discipline, and you need to be constant with your skin in the day and also at night. So when you wash your skin, you should take your cleanser, rub it and warm it in your hands, apply it on your skin, and then take 2 or 3 minutes to massage the skin while you are cleansing it. Use circular motion, use your finger pads and completely use it all over your skin, around the eyes, around the nose, and then also the neck and the back of the neck. You don't stop here, your face stops here. So you have to gently and also using some slight pressure, using rolling methods with your finger pads, completely wash your skin and go behind the neck everywhere to clean it properly. The cleaning and the massaging that you do with the fingertips is not just cleaning. We think we are just cleaning our skin, but on the inside, if you could have a camera going inside the skin, it helps with the removal of waste. It drains lymph away from the nodules. It helps to clean the skin. You are helping and accelerating the process of the skin cleaning itself. So it's really important that you take the time to do it properly and intensely and enjoy it. You will obviously see that as you get into this routine that you will feel more relaxed during the day because massage sends good messages to the brain. When you massage the skin, it releases hormones that we call endorphins, which we call happy hormones. So you will start your skin with a happy beginning and you'll end the day with a happy ending while you do this. So take the time and do it properly and regularly. And then after you've washed, you can slightly press on the sides of the skin. That is where the lymph nodules are situated and they accumulate a lot of waste during the day. So it's like you are helping cleaning the filters of the body. So then the absorption of products after this is going to be so much better, so much deeper and so much more effective. Then always remember to rinse your cleanser properly. Don't leave any cleanser behind on the skin, because that can actually dehydrate your skin. And the product of the cleanser is the only one that you wash off. That's why if you prepare it completely and you prepare it nicely, then the skin can absorb better the product line that's coming after your cleanser. So I really want to challenge you, take the time to massage your skin in the morning. It will do a great deal of work for you, and it will also relieve the stress in your skin. You will also maybe feel that you don't get that much high migraines anymore, or headaches, because of the massage and the stimulation that you give your skin. And it also excites your nerve endings, so your skin is excited and it's happy, and then it's ready to fight the day coming forward. So really take the time to invest in cleansing the skin properly. Then toning is very important. Sometimes people don't know why toners are necessary. If your cleanser has got HAAs in it, alpha hydroxy acids, then that's why a person don't need to use a toner, because the acids helps the pH to be balanced and drop to a lower level to create an acidity. But most cleansers does not contain HAA, so then it's very important that you do use your freshener. The freshener stabilizes your acid mantle up to 5.5 to 5.6, so that it is antibacterial, antimicrobial and antifungal to prevent anything from the outside to penetrate your skin. And it also prepares the way for your serum and all your treatments that comes afterwards. So it's really important to use your toner. Your toner is also the link between your cleanser and the serum and the moisturizer that follow. So it's a link that you cannot take out of the equation. So that's really important to remember. Then your special treatments like your eye care, we always, after toning, do eye and lip care first. Because the eye and the lip skin is so sensitive and so thin, we need to firstly treat them by using our ring finger. You always use the finger that's the weakest in the hand, and that's the ring finger. You will apply your eye cream, rub it also in the hand so that the heat can disperse the product and also activate the ingredients. And you will do a patting motion, starting from the inside of the eye, moving all around with patting motions. We are not pulling on the skin, we are not rubbing the skin, we are patting the skin in circular motions, anti-clockwise and then clockwise again back. This patting motion also removes lumps, it relieves puffiness, and it helps the absorption of the eye cream into the area. So that is very important to do. And it's also very relaxing. And it will prevent also these wrinkles that will form because we are frowning and using expressions. So luckily, maybe you don't have to think about Botox anyway. So it's good to take care with your eye care as well. Which is our special treatments. Serums treats special conditions, and that also moisturizes and hydrates our skin. Just one thing I want to tell you about serums is that it's the only product that really treats skin conditions. So when you are young and you are still in your teenage years and you are still between 25 and 27, it's good just to do your cleansing, toning, moisturizing and your protection. But after 27, it is very good to invest into serums, because that helps your skin to maintain moisture and then to build upon the collagen that you have and not to break it down and cause aging. And you can also prevent premature aging when you start using a serum. So you don't want to use a serum too quickly. If you do start with acne, then it's good to use serums in that stage. But if you've got a nice normal skin, it's good only to start with serums that are active from the age of 25, between 27, to prevent premature aging. And then obviously your moisturizer is very important. Usually your moisturizer's molecules are larger, they are thicker, and they are there to seal the product. A moisturizer can only penetrate into only the higher levels of the skin. It can't penetrate into the deeper layers. That is what your serum's job is. So you need the heaviness of the cream or the nourisher to lie on top of the serum to press it in. Or otherwise, when you are young, the moisturizer is there only to moisturize the skin, to keep moisture in and allow not for moisture to transmit through the skin and evaporate. Especially young children, they also need moisturizer, and as well teenage clients, they do need moisturizer. Sometimes people say, no, but my skin is so oily, I don't need any oil or any moisturizer. Especially for a client like that, you will give a moisturizer like a hydrating balm that only hydrates the skin. It will then also balance and level the oil and give her a nicer, smoother texture without the oily shine. So it's really important that you have to do the moisturizer at night and in the day. During the day, you can use a slightly less oily day cream. And at night, you can overload the skin with more oilier, richer creams, because in the day, our skin fights. It's really in a ninja mode. It wants to fight and kill anything that wants to penetrate it. At night, it's like Sleeping Beauty. It needs its sleep, it needs its rest. While you sleep at night, your body absorbs, it stores, it protects, it rejuvenates, it revives, it rebuilds. It takes in everything that's on top of it, make use of it, and it disperses of the things that it doesn't want. So it's really necessary that you look at your evening routine as well. Do some effort, really apply everything you can. You can really overload the skin, and it will download everything while you are sleeping. So don't think you can just go to bed. Really try and look at the skin at night, because it's really building and doing a lot of things at night as well. Because it had to fight so hard during the day to protect itself, it needs to rejuvenate and recharge, like our phones. I mean, you know that I can go only one day with my phone. If I step into my house, I can see there goes my phone, the battery is flat. If I don't recharge my battery, it won't be able to work at all. You can't do WhatsApp, you can't do messages, you can't do anything. I need to recharge it again, and that is exactly what your skin does at night. It recharges, it plugs in, it multiplies, it divides, it does a lot of things. So it's necessary, and it also downloads new software like our phone does. So yes, you can also think about that, how your skin needs to download and get rid of all the unnecessary information that it got through the day, and then store new information so it can fight the next day again. And then protection is the last thing. You have to protect your skin with sun factor. And then if you swim and you do activities where you sweat a lot, you have to reapply the sunblock after 2 hours or after you stepped out of the water. And we need to look at an SPF of 30, between 30 and 50, because that is the factor that really protects the skin against, and you must look at a factor, sun factor, that protects against UVA and UVB rays. Some sun factors only protects against UVB. Then it only prevents the skin from burning, but it doesn't prevent the skin from aging. So it's really important that you pay attention and also invest in a proper sunblock that can help to protect your skin, because we know that sun damage is the reason for most skin problems, and also the reason why we prematurely age. So really look in your sun factor and get the right one perfectly for your skin. Then we have lastly weekly routine. That is what we exfoliate the skin and we mask the skin. Now that is something you can do 2 to 3 times a week. It's not something you have to do every day. So it is important to check also your exfoliator. When you have an enzymatic skin and a very sensitive skin, then don't use scrub. Rather go for your enzymes that has enzymatic type of cream enzymes that helps the skin to dissolve by itself without rubbing or scrubbing or using granules. Then we've got a bit of dry skin and you need a bit of stimulation, and the skin is underactive in its sebaceous activity. You can use a scrub. Usually normal skins to slightly oily or dry skins can use the scrub. But when you are older, an older skin or a more acne prone skin or a more sensitive skin won't use a scrub. You will go more for your enzymatic types that uses natural fruit acids to naturally exfoliate the skin. This process helps you to absorb all the products that you would use at night and at day. So it's necessary to help exfoliate the skin, even though we've heard that your skin exfoliates by its own and desquamates on its own. Sometimes it does it all irregularly, because you remember when you sleep, you rub maybe on this side, you're sleeping more on your left side or more on your right side. That part of skin usually gets rubbed more. Or when you are stressed, you would sit with your hand like this during the day in the office, and that area of skin by your forehead exfoliate less or more than the other parts of skin. So exfoliation on a weekly basis just helps you to get everybody on the same track, to get it all working together and evenly together. And then also your mask is a nice treatment. Most of the masks of Willa Krause you can sleep with, so it's a nice treatment, having a nice wonderful sleep while a mask is working and doing its thing on your face. So then you get also some clay mask in Willa Krause that you do have to wash off. All your clay mask you do not leave on your skin. It will really dry out your skin completely. It's only to use, and then you should wash it off. But some of the other masks, the protein mask, you can leave on the skin and sleep with it. It's an extra treatment, especially in this dry winter weather. And you can also use it for your kids when they struggle with redness or diffuseness or sensitivity on the skin. They are also capable to use it. So yes, you can use the mask and the scrubs only on a weekly basis.